Hey guys, welcome to another video, and in this video we'll be again talking about the articles of Chicago Convention 1944. And why are we talking about it? Because many questions are coming in DGC exams these days related to these articles, right? So today we'll be talking again about two articles, which is Article 32 and Article 33. So briefly, Article 32 basically speaks about licenses of personnel, and Article 33 speaks about recognition of certificates and licenses. So these two articles are basically also related to Article 29, which talks about documents to be carried in an aircraft. But Article 32 and 33 is important when it comes to licensing. So, questions are being asked. What is Article 32? Licenses of personnel. I'll read it out. It's in two parts. The pilot of every aircraft and other members of the operating crew of every aircraft engaged in international navigation shall be provided with certificates of competency and licenses issued or rendered by the state in which the aircraft is registered. So basically, certificate of competency can be a proficiency check, or like which is done every year or every 6 months, right? And licenses. License is basically a commercial pilot license or ATPLs or etc. But basically, what they're saying is that to fly an aircraft, you need a license and you need some competency checks which has to be performed regularly, right? The second part of it is saying that each contracting state reserves the right to refuse to recognize, for the purpose of flight above its own territory, certificates of competency and licenses granted to any of its nationals by another contracting state. So, what they're trying to say is, uh, let's say a student goes to Philippines. So this is something that actually happened, right? So a student goes to Philippines and gets a Filipino license, a Filipino commercial pilot license, and comes back to India. Now, India has the right to say that we won't accept the license and we won't convert it to an Indian license, right? So that's what they're saying. They have the a contracting state has the right to say no to contracting another state's license, and this is only for its own nationals. So Indian DGCA can say no to the license of, let's say, Filipino license, but in case of an Indian, right? They cannot say to an FA person in US having an FA license that your license is not valid. It's only for an Indian, right? It's an example. Uh, so these were the two parts of Article 32, licenses of personnel. So, one, again, we will review it. They're basically saying that you should have a license to fly. And number two is that the country has the right to say no to a license of another contracting state, right? Article 33 is speaking about recognition of certificates and licenses. Certificates of airworthiness and certificates of competency and licenses issued or rendered valid by the contracting state in which the aircraft is registered shall be recognized as valid by the other contracting states, provided that the requirements under which such certificates or licenses were issued or rendered valid are equal to or above the minimum standards which may be established from time to time pursuant to this convention. So they are basically saying that there are basic standards of every country, uh, which and within these standards a license is issued, right? So if let's say a student goes to, for example, Pakistan and trains, India has a right to say that the trainings are below standards, below our standards, and we'll not accept it, right? So they are just telling that there are certain standards that has to be maintained, and if those standards are maintained, let it be a certificate of airworthiness or a personal license. If those standards are maintained with respect to ICAO as well, the country will issue a license, right? This basically applies to conversion of licenses. So recognition of certificates and licenses is Article 33. So basically, it is what it means that recognize, they are recognizing another state's standards and they're saying that, okay, if these standards are all right, we are okay with it and we'll convert the licenses. So, a review again, Article 32 was licenses of personnel. Basically, they're saying that to fly an aircraft, you need a license. And Article 3, recognition of certificates and licenses. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you.